Again. Hello, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Has he got the... Oh, no, the date's not on this one. They've just done the last one, and James thought it was Friday the 19th of December. But it's fine.
That time of year, though, you do lose track, don't you?
Lose track of the days.
So fair play to you, James. You're just losing track.
We didn't do an M-tag yesterday, so I upped the date by one.
Yeah.
And it went from the 18th to the 19th.
What have you
You
learned?
know what it is, though? It's because the 19th of December will always be burnt on his mind because it's the day past his driver's test.
And freakins. You got a
And the
double
freakins,
whammy.
you got a
Well, you got
double
it.
whammy.
To be honest, you got the Holy Trinity.
Yeah, you got full Ned.
You got exactly.
Yeah, I got
although we did speak before, but he didn't get full net, did he? Know what James said?
Yeah.
James said, I actually thought his Christmas quiz was going to be a little bit more controversial.
I thought he was starting off, with just like normal Christmas questions,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
it'd get a bit dark.
Yeah.
But
And it
never went
didn't, did
dark.
it?
Like what country did Hitler
Yeah,
flee to?
something like that.
Yeah.
That's why I laughed at first. I was like, oh, this is just a regular Christmas quiz, and it's going to go on something else.
That's Ned for you, though.
You
Josh.
just never know.
You just never know.
He turned up the
There's a
greatest
triple-
Christmas presents ever.
Yeah.
But did you get the feeling he just jumped in co-op on the way through?
I think he got himself a butty and went, oh, I know what'll be funny.
Fair play.
But he got his dad's present maybe at the same time.
No, we just
Scotch
got
eggs.
a good present, didn't he?
Yeah,
This is
Scotch-
good.
Scotch-
I hope
I
he
had the
is.
Scotch eggs on the train.
I hope
That
he
does not surprise me.
I
That
hope
doesn't
he is.
surprise me. Was it a packed train?
No.
I'm going to say I would not have wanted to be sitting next to you if you were eating Scotch eggs. Could you imagine? Oh, I bet you had your shoes off as well. Oh, lad.
Would he have took his shoes
Yeah,
off?
just like that, lad.
Ned wasn't on the train with him, asking him to wear his shoes.
play, fair
Anyway, right? Anyway.
Fair play.
Press conference has just been done. Sean Dyche just given his pre-match presser ahead of Chelsea, who won 5-1 last night with probably like the 15 or something. What did you make of the press conference? Because obviously it was freakin-centric, as we knew it would be. Did we actually learn anything?
No.
And also, I think for the manager as well, he's just had a face-to-face with someone for like, I don't know, it might have been half an hour or something. He's not going to know loads either, is he? So it's a little bit... They were asking him questions that you could see. He was a bit like, I've literally just come out of a meeting. But what did you take out of it, if anything?
Very little without being critical of anybody. I mean, the first thing I took out of it was knowing Scrooged. But God, see, can someone start using a microphone? That was the first thing. That was the first thing I learned. Was I listened to it in my car on the way here, coming in, because I've literally just come in. I've been doing the Everton Stadium tour, which was brilliant, by the way. And Billy and David, who done it, were absolutely amazing. I did say, they were like, make sure you give us a good, like a thumbs up. I said, I'm doing instant tour reaction at 2:00. So it was
You know that I started the Goodison tours? You know that?
Me and Dave Vixen. No, it was good. It was a good tour, and it's worthwhile, everybody. And there's loads. There's a guy on it who was from Syria. Fair play. People from Melbourne who I think are missing the game because the game's been moved to Sunday.
Oh my!
So they've got tickets, and it's because it's been moved. But it was a lovely collection of people from all over the place, and it was really nice. So I listened to it on the way here.
I need to take Zach to it.
Yeah, everyone should go on the tour before we leave. By the way, and also I found myself on a picture in the tunnel. Although I think someone had crossed my eyes out and put devil horns on.
Yeah.
No, listen, I don't. To be fair to Sean Dyche, what can he say? Even if he went into that meeting and he basically said, "You're on notice." Do you know what I mean? He's not. You can't have that. And he's not the kind of fella I don't think I do who's going to go, "Oh, much." You know, we'll have to wait and see. He was like, every game. You know, he's like same stuff.
He did say a few times, though, in fairness to him as well. It depends on results.
Yeah.
Yeah. He did say, you've got to win games, otherwise you get changed. So, I mean, I'm quite sure they've had that. And he'll know that anyway. So there you go.
I just think I think many press conferences, including our own, are very tame these days. They are. Because it's the same collection of journalists who obviously have good rapport with the manager, and you don't have that person from maybe a national journalist who doesn't see him every week, who can ask that maybe naughty question. So press conferences are quite tame now. It's to be fair, I was shocked by the BBC report and not asking them questions about the Villa game in January. But that's by the by. That's by the by.
You and I, all right.
No, listen.
Emma makes a great point. Says, how does a press room have no microphones?
Yeah, that's...
Because through that press conference at one stage, James said to me, "Is that it? Is it finished?" And I said, "No, mate, there's just a reporter asking him a question."
Honestly,
you couldn't hear anything, could you?
Honestly, it's really poor. I've no issue saying that. It's really poor.
Just have a mic. They add it for a little bit.
It's inconsistent.
Yeah.
Some weeks they have it, and then they basically go towards the end. Sometimes they go, "Well, I can't be bothered." Just ask us that question, Will, because Paul Will's at the back of the room asking the best questions normally. Have a microphone. Have a microphone, because the question is as important as the answer. Sorry, I apologise. I didn't really want to go on one about that, but please, because I have to. The reason it annoys me is I have to edit that audio to try and make it sound like you can hear them. I know you can. Then you hear all the back. Oh, it's not an easy task. It's not an easy task.
Danny says another boring, predictable press conference. Ian Murphy, they're both YouTube members, says that was predictable. Dodged more questions than he answered. To be fair to the manager, right? To be fair to Sean Dyche, what can he? Even if that, like Peds just said, even if they've said to him, Sean, and I doubt they would have said this to him, but if they'd have said, "Look, we're going to change it at some stage because we've got our own ideas," he's not going to come in and say that, is he? It's because it's not going to happen. He's professional, so it's hard for him.
He actually said it himself in the press conference when they asked him about the English managers, and he said, "It's my job to make sure when I don't have a job, I can get another job."
Yeah, of course.
He went full coach out of Moneyball.
But it is, isn't it? Because you've got to. Someone said this to me about him in the last 24 hours, actually. Who isn't an Evertonian, said, listening to him lately, because you're asking me what I take out of it. He said, listening to him lately, he isn't half positioning himself for his next job. Yeah. He's not saying anything. So he's sort of, I've got no problem with him doing that whatsoever, because that's football. He was saying, we were talking to someone yesterday, we were just saying it's such a ridiculous environment, professional football, is that people are they're scared to say anything anywhere because they think, I can't say that because that might affect that or whatever.
It's literally...
So you're not going to get any
It's literally an environment, football, where there's a never-ending line of people to take your job.
Of course, yeah.
And that is literally all the time. It's like in any part of football. So if you're a manager, there's always someone ready to take your job. If you're a coach, you've got to keep yourself. And if you're in any part of football, you know, if you're a manager and you've been sacked and you're out the game for a while and you haven't got that like aura about you, then before you know it, you're yesterday's news and there's the next person. And if you don't keep up to date, we were talking about like people who've left Everton in the last few years and how like we might go, how come they haven't got a job? But other people are like, this fella works 10 times as hard because he hasn't got a name like you or whatever. It's like that in every environment. And I think you can't like go off on one. You've got to keep that professional persona. Sean Dyche has always been like that at Everton, you know, apart from when he tries to tell his jokes. But he's always got that like business management speak that gives an answer but doesn't really give an answer, or gives an answer but there's not really much to it, and he's really good at that. And it will, you know, at the end of the day, if he leaves Everton at any point this season or at the end of the season, he'll have no problem getting another job, absolutely no problem. So especially when you've seen the two managers who have been basically appointed this week in the Premier League, Vitor Pereira and the Roma manager, the ex-Roma manager. You know what I mean? Those two, you know, that is like, it's
such a strange appointment, that one.
Yeah, it's like...
Because, do you think it's just, there's no chance on earth they stay in the Premier League, right? Okay. There isn't. They're absolutely dreadful. There's no chance they're staying up. Because they haven't spent. So it's not that they can't be a better team, they just haven't spent the money, so... You know, it's doubtful whether Leicester and Ipswich stay up. Like, really doubtful. No, Leicester are outside of it at the minute, but they've won games they probably shouldn't have won, which has got them in a false position. Ipswich are throwing everything at it. They haven't won a home game all season, and Newcastle will beat them, I think, this weekend. Right? Southampton are way below both of those clubs, like way below. So there's no chance they're staying up. And Wolves now have put themselves with Pereira. It could be a genius masterstroke to employ him. It could be an absolute disaster, right? But obviously Russell Martin at Southampton had his own ideas of what he wanted to do. And they got up playing that football. And they've played it all season. And we know that there's a lack of quality in the final third for Southampton that will ultimately undo everything else they're trying to do, because they haven't got it at the top end of the pitch and they're not great at the back either. So they play a lovely brand of football, but both doors are open, aren't they? Do you know what I mean? He can't score at the top end and he can't keep it out at the other end. But they've brought a fella in simply just because it isn't Russell Martin. And they've gone, well, he's out of work at Roma. Because Roma took him and had him for, was he 12 games at Roma? And I know he won, I think he won 3 of the 12 or something at Roma. But Roma have got, if you actually look at Roma's squad, they've actually got some good players, and they've got Toffee and people like that at the top end of the pitch. Way above Southampton's pay grade. And yet, they've took him there, which is just such a strange appointment. Do you know what I mean?
Do you think him going in there, he thinks he can keep Southampton up, but I think it's just that he sees it as an easy payday for him?
Possibly, right. He might think he can keep them up. It isn't, of course, it isn't mathematically impossible for them to stay, of course.
Very unlikely.
But it's unlikely. They've won one game of football in 16. They're going to need 7 wins, at least 8 wins in the second half of the season, which I don't see happening, but who knows, right? But I would have thought they would have looked at the whole thing and gone, the chances are we're probably going to get relegated this season, right? Does he smack of a championship manager to you?
No, he's got a break clause, hasn't he?
Well, that's what I mean.
He's got a break clause. It's just a hit and hope, isn't it? It's a hit and hope. But I think the point being was that, you know, Sean Dyche keeps his hand in and is playing the game and everything. Then if he leaves Everton in 2025, then he'll walk into another job because, and you know, it's about keeping your powder dry when you're a manager, and then when you're not a manager, making sure you come out of the private part of your life at the right time, and make sure you're hitting the right podcasts and going on Sky and Monday Night Football. No, it is though, isn't it? It is, because
listen, I think there's Sean Dyche is a capable manager.
Of course he is.
Right? And it's me personally, I don't think it's what Everton need now, but he's a capable manager. I think for him, he needs a job where the scrutiny isn't really on him. Do you know what I mean? It's not the fact that he can't do the job, because he can, but if he needs someone.
He needs to be the biggest fish in that pond.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I don't know how to
Everton,
say it.
without being disrespectful, it's far too big for him.
But the thing is, it's not even
because he doesn't get the romantic side of football, I don't think.
No,
and I think that's important.
I think the other thing as well is I don't think we live in Everton, as in we know everything. We look at it from our perspective. We are nutcase fans.
James wants to move to Everton. They've got bins.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. If you look at it, right? If you look at Everton, and you're aware of it, there's an intensity, there's a desire, there's a thirst for knowledge over everything. What's happening, when's it happening, why is it happening?
Yeah.
It's getting worse and worse because Everton are a huge football. Doesn't matter. Team, they're not a huge football team.
Yeah.
As a football club, they're a huge football club. Still, the fifth most successful English club in terms of winning the title, right?
Sixth now is a fifth. Oh no, we're in from fourth to fifth. Sorry,
to fifth, right?
It's just that long.
If only you knew.
It's that long.
But if you're not in the Everton bubble and you're just looking at it from afar, we're not on Sky all the time. We're not shoved down people's throats. So I think, Sean, this isn't a criticism of Sean Dyche, this is just an observation, is that he was at Burnley and his MO was 17th. If he got above it, great, but just keep them up. They didn't give him hardly any money, and he'd done a good job with keeping them up and all of that. Low money, work hard, great. And he knew when it all shook out in May, most years they were fine, right? Coming to Everton is a different thing. Yeah. And I don't think he will have realised until he got in the door that all the things he's been doing at Burnley that was successful are not going to be met with open arms here. Some fans are really relieved that he's done it, and he's done a tough job, and he's kept Everton in the league. But he probably doesn't understand why there's a scrutiny, or he mightn't like the intensity of it. So if he went to another club where maybe the expectation isn't quite what it is here, he'd be allowed to just get on with the job.
He'd drown at a club that are seen as like a top six.
Oh no, I know.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying
underneath.
No, but that's what I'm saying.
Because I remember Roy Hodgson going to Liverpool, and I know someone who worked in Liverpool at the time, and Roy Hodgson said to him early on, he was like, I honestly can't believe how many media things I have to do here. Yeah. And he's like, I've been in Italy, and he was like, this is never ending. He was like moaning about it, going, and because Liverpool weren't doing very well either, he just didn't sounds talking them up, but he didn't realise like how global Liverpool were then. So imagine it 12 years later. Do you know what I mean? And I often think about that on a lower scale. Yeah. For sort of like Sean Dyche coming from Burnley, where it's played for Burnley, and that town is very much like you just working class and you get on with it, but it's a smaller club. Everton, the scrutiny there, and then you're right, if he then went again, look at what Postecoglou's getting. And they're in the semi-final of a cup. If they win, they go back into the top 6 or 7, whatever.
Sean Dyche thinks he's doing a good job, right? He thinks he's doing a good job.
If his MO is to keep Everton
that's the point.
17,
he thinks he's doing a good job, right? And therefore, he probably can't quite understand the noise about Everton from the fans, not from the media, because the media are not interested. He probably can't understand that the way we think, and that's a pressure. I'm not saying he can't handle it, but I think, as a very sort of self-assured person that he is, I just think he probably looks and goes, I'm doing this job, and I'm doing it well because this is the job. Yeah. Your job is, what you want is different, and it may be a bit pie in the sky, and that's why he drops all the lines in about you don't really know what's going on and all this kind of thing. Yeah. But they're the pressures that come with being at Everton. You've got to be able to deal with them, and he's just managing. I think wherever he goes next, it will bookend his career nicely. Because he'll get back, I imagine, to that comfort zone of dealing with a club whose expectations are to stay in the Premier League, and that's what you're fighting for, and that's what
he'll be all right,
and that's what your big win is. And again, as I said, I think it comes down to like being the biggest fish in the pond, and he's just not at Everton, and
You know what else is mad, right? I said this yesterday. Like, we all want the same thing, don't we? We all want Everton to win. Doesn't matter what side you a Sean Dyche fan, you hate Sean Dyche. You're in the middle. You don't care. Doesn't matter where you are on that scale. We all of us want the same thing, which is when we sit down at Goodison, we want to see Everton win, don't we? When we go away, we want to see Everton get good results. We all want to get up on a Monday and Everton have had a great result, and we all bounce around. I mean, we'll have different views, no problem with all that. And hopefully the Freakins will unite us a little bit better, and people will stop being divvies to each other on social media and stuff, or a little lot less, because we all want the end goal. But the one thing that annoys me, and this isn't about the manager either, this isn't from the manager either, but this is from other people and like some pundits and all that. This thing of what else you'd expect. Like, why should you want like Everton to be better? And it's like, because football, A, is about dreaming. That's what football's about. If you actually step back and look at football logically, why would you go and watch Everton every other week when they don't win? They don't win anything. They don't score goals. We get beat. And other teams as well. Look at Southampton, just been talking about them.
Yeah.
Why do their fans turn up every 2 weeks? They know they're going to get battered. But they still go because they think, you know what, maybe, right? So we're at a stage with our football club, and every football club should be like this. You should aspire to, you've got to start on the ladder somewhere, haven't you? And go, we want to get up there. We do. Of course we do. Doesn't mean Everton will spend 300 million in January, because they can't anyway. But you know what I mean? And that'll solve it, because it hasn't. Same with Arsenal. They spent 700 million under Arteta. Doesn't mean they're going to win the league. And if they don't win it this year, then you need to go, is he actually the man? Because we've spent tons of money and he can't get us over the line. Everything is different. You're not fixed in a place. And I don't believe Everton are fixed in this place. No. Where 17th is good enough. So there's nothing wrong with going, I actually want us to be 13th and in no danger. Then I actually want us in the top 10 and no danger. And I actually want us fighting for a Conference League place and no danger. There's nothing wrong with wanting that. His MO is different to what we want, but he would turn around and go, I've done an all right job, because his MO really is just 17.
It is.
But he still has to win games, and that's why I don't think he could sit there today, nor should anyone expect him to, and be able to talk about whether he can stay. I've seen a couple of people saying, see the way he dodged the question of whether he wanted to be here longer than the summer. Well, A, he might not want to be here longer than the summer himself, because he might just think, I don't want to do this. I don't want this scrutiny. I want to do, like you said. He might believe he's not going to be here anyway, because the chances are, when you look at every takeover, they change the manager, whether people agree with it or... I mean, look at Birmingham City last season. They took, no disrespect to Wayne, but they had a manager in charge, and the new owners wanted a new manager. They were in the top 6, and they replaced that manager with Wayne Rooney. The fans didn't like it. And whatever. So new owners do it everywhere. Newcastle did it. New owners do it everywhere. So the manager might know that he's going to be moved on anyway, whether it's in January or it's in June. So he's not going to sit there and go, oh yeah, I really want to stay. They'll know whether he wants to stay. And he'll get on with it, won't he? But move that all to one side anyway. First of all, super chat from Nige. Thank you very much, mate. Nige says, Merry Christmas, fellas, and to all the Toffies and creepers in the chat. Wanted to know if you had to pick between Graham Potter and Thomas Frank, which one would you choose and why? Onwards and upwards, the Freak and Toffies. I think we both go Thomas Frank, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
I'd be happy if Everton decided to replace the manager and those two were the front runners. I'd be pleased anyway, because I think, well, one, I think can really do it, and I'll let you talk about Thomas Frank now, and the other one would change what we've been doing in recent times. So what? No,
I think Thomas Frank could come in January and take over this team and improve them or keep them going, whatever.
Wouldn't win away, but that's fine. We'd win every.
I think he might win away. No, we won't win away anyway. Yeah. No, but I think it's he's just a fella I think is in the best position, but he's the mould. He's the mould we'll be looking at. But it will be Thomas Frank for me, because I just like him generally. I just like the calmness of him, and I think he's going to take that step up. And listen, other people will disagree with me on this, and that's fine. He's not like a candidate where you can fight that corner. It's not the hill I'm going to die on, Thomas Frank, by the way.
No.
But I do think that, just for me, I look at him and think he's a good candidate who's ready to go. Potter, yeah, I think Potter's a bit more. Yeah, you'd have to turn a lot more round because of the style he wants to play. And there's a nervousness to that because you know that the way he wants to play can invite the opposition to, see Southampton play out the back. You could get a little bit of that, and that nervousness doesn't need to be there right now. So, yeah, it's Frank for me. But as I said, there's going to be a few candidates, and there's talk that the Freakins like the German style of manager and this kind of thing. So it's going to be an interesting one to see what they do and whether they take the time over the next few months to plan it out properly and find that target and really hone in on it and decide that they're the ones that's the one they really want and is going to chase that person down.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, Thomas Frank, if you're asking me, out the two, I think I like Potter. I know some people don't like him. I like the style of play. I like the fact he took Brighton from a long ball team and improved them. You'd have to be patient. I think it'd be interesting with him.
Yeah.
See how he changed.
I don't subscribe to this thing, by the way. I sort of used to, but I don't anymore. Of you'd get ate alive by the fans and all this kind of thing. I think it's on the fan base to, if someone like that did come as a manager, to just understand.
I think we're at such a low.
Yeah, exactly. But that's such a low bar. I've heard this about what happens if and you're like, look where we are right now. The bar is so incredibly low that any improvement and people talk about patience. I don't know how we could be any more patient than we've been. We've only really kicked off as a fan base over the running of the football club rather than what we're watching on the pitch. So
yeah. David says afternoon from a warm Cyprus. Matt Gibson says afternoon all. I've not watched this stand-up gig this afternoon, but I'd assume it was as infuriating as people usually find it. The sooner he's gone, the more I'll believe in the Freaking Group. Okay. Bill Cummings says, good God, way to throw cold water on any excitement. He didn't look happy.
Yeah, that's going to be just the way it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
What did you think of, just before we move on, what did you think of, I think it was Will asked about the academy. And I think what he was hinting at was, you don't play many academy players, do you? You don't play many young players. And he sort of, I don't know if he dodged the question or interpreted the question wrong. I'm giving him an opportunity. But he more honed in on the fact that,
money's gone on this.
We haven't had money to buy anyone. So therefore, we've done our best and things will start picking up. But
isn't our academy, with all due respect, I understand you do buy players, but isn't the point of an academy is you develop players yourself?
Yeah.
Liverpool, Merseyside area and the Northwest is a hotbed of football talent.
Yeah.
And you need better coaches in your academy then, and you need to do better scouting
standards
rather than going out and just getting. I've seen lads who've played against Zach's team who've been in Everton, come out of Everton's academy, and it's like, you were in an academy. No, but you watch it and you go, really?
It's a touch judgmental.
No, because when you're the real thing is when you're looking, you expect that to be 2 levels up than what you're seeing, and it isn't. So you go, okay, you can see they've got something, so why are they out the academy then?
Yeah.
Why haven't, because you've obviously taken them kids, and again, for me, it all falls back to, they take them at 5 and 6, and it's just nonsense.
Yeah.
It's utter nonsense, this whole thing. 13 should be before you're going anywhere, when you can understand the game, should be allowed to play and develop how to play football. Take them in and put them in that sanitised crap that is the academy football, because it is. We watched it the other weekend here. It was embarrassing. The Forest game was embarrassing. It wasn't football, was it? It wasn't football. There was people running past. There's more difficult games at under 9s in the Sunday League in Liverpool than what they play in. And then you put them in the Premier League and wonder why they can't do it. Because in the Premier League, no one's giving you anything. Or they go to League 2. We spoke yesterday, didn't we, about players who were big talent a few years ago and went on loan to a non-league side and played a game and a half and disappeared. Because you should go into a non-league side with all that talent and be able to shine. Yeah. You go to a non-league side where them lads ain't giving you last week's echo without the fight, and the next minute you just fall away and you don't do nothing.
But isn't it that in like the lower stages of an academy, they're not even like competitive games anymore, are they? They all classed as like friendlies between teams.
Friendlies,
don't register the
they
scores.
don't register the scores or nothing like that.
Sort of not a good incentive to have, is it?
I think that's a general.
That's like the way it
That's a general academy thing. No, yeah, I think what you said first of all is the first thing is that kids need develop pathways, and again, that's another reason why maybe Sean Dyche again needs to. Would he do that if there was no pressure on him? I still don't think he would, because he has an over-reliance on senior players. But you have to have those pathways for kids when you see them. There's a lot of talk about Harrison Armstrong, and people like City are watching him.
Yeah.
We go, this kid doesn't get off the bench. And yet other teams, and then for a fact that, of course, he went into a more nurturing environment, that there would be opportunities for him. And we've seen that at City, the way they dip players in. And obviously now Chelsea starting to play young players they didn't before. And obviously they lost a lot of people. But shouldn't we, though, with limited funds, though, as in what you can spend on that, shouldn't we be that... Didn't we identify this in the past? It kept us going in the late 90s.
Shouldn't we be
Wayne Rooney stopped us from going bust. And the likes of Anthony... Gordon and other players, younger players who you haven't been even as good, have basically got us money to keep us going. So of course you can't run out of that. And of course in the summer they went out and did spend money and bring players in, and it's looking a little bit better. But then where's the opportunities on my Benjamin? He's scoring goals and stuff, and I know people have called for him. I don't think he's at that level. But what's the next step for him? Does he go on loan? Does he go on loan in January? Do a couple of other people go on loan in January? What's the next?
I think that's what we have to do. I think we have to look at that and identify those talents and give them a pathway. Make those lads who are really talented, get them earlier, obviously, and develop them in your own academy. But the ones who you're trying to pick up as well, make them believe that Everton Football Club's the best place for them, and you'll get in. We're a big club. We're in the Northwest with Liverpool, Manchester United, Manchester City. Okay, 2 of them. 3 are amongst the top 5 clubs in world football for the size of them. But the other one's been really good in the last 10 years through spending mad money and being able to get great players in and win everything. So surely Everton's team, that is still a Premier League football team and a big football team, is an easier pathway to get into that first team.
Shouldn't it? But it's got the perverse thing with that is, because we are fighting at the bottom, we can't give those opportunities. Other clubs have and have had, different success.
Of course, yeah.
But you've got to identify the players and say, right, I think it's more of like when you buy someone that stops someone emerging, and are you willing to be patient for a couple of years with the player and say, no, we're not buying a left back. We're gonna go. We've got a good left back coming through there. Just needs a little bit more. Have you got confidence in him? We're going to put him in the team. Yes, he's going to be ropey for a little bit, and you've all got to be patient with him.
But shouldn't that kid be on the bench then?
I don't know if that kid exists.
No.
I don't know if that kid exists. Harrison Armstrong is there. So Everton in this summer should be going, no, we're not buying Mangala. We're not getting a Mangala. We're not getting any more players. We've got Timmy de Boonham. We've got the Birkenhead Pirlo, and we've got Harrison Armstrong.
And Dyche.
And to be fair, this is what Martinez did with Barkley. He said, that's who I'm having. I see all this faith. I've got loads of faith in this kid. I've got a Barry who compliments him and will talk him through the game and get him through the game. But he's playing, and that's the end of it. And I think that's where, again, a manager coming through, if you've got those talents, Dixon at that level. Is Dixon ready to go in? Patterson, when he come in, should he have been put in the team and left in the team for 2 years to develop the skills? Or is it a pathway like Branthwaite where you say, we stick you on loan for a couple of opportunities and you come back and you're going in the team?
Yeah. Well, that's the only real way out to develop players.
Yeah. The only way to develop players, I'll shock you with this, is if they play football.
Shut up.
Honestly. I ate a fortune cookie, that. But it is, isn't it? Yeah. Players can't get better. I know there's a notion of, well, they train every day. They get better when they play. We've watched it in front of our eyes. There's nothing better than watching a player develop every single week and seeing them get better and better. We've seen it recently. We've seen it with Branthwaite, of course, haven't we? So it's the only way to do it.
Bill says, which right winger with pace would you target in January? arguably we never replaced Amari Gray for the pace. We haven't though, have we? Even whether you liked Amari Gray or not, he was like, at least he was quick. He could take you up the pitch quite quickly when he ran with the ball. When we haven't had any of that kind of pace, have we, really?
No.
Deal. I don't know whether they'll go back for Nonso. They love Nonso. I don't know whether Leeds would sell him anyway. Signed a new deal anyway, hasn't he? Nuamar, maybe, if you could get him on loan. Because he's quick and we tried to get him in Jan. In August, rather, but I don't know. Is he good enough? Don't know, but he is quick.
Don't Leon have to sell players as well?
They aren't, yeah. So you might be able to find yourself on a good end of that one. I know we were linked with Luis Enrique as well of Botafogo. I know these are all, I'm well aware, these are all links. John Texter, who'd apparently lined up.
Bell back that Texter, lad.
Well, he'd apparently lined up Enrique for Everton in January. He's playing over in Brazil. I'd have to have a look at like who's realistic, because there's not going to be big money spent, is the bill. So it's, what can you do? We do need a real pacey winger. They are around, but you've got to have a look and go and get it. There's the kid, the one who can play right back as well. He plays for Verona. Is he Cameroonian? Why's his name disappeared? Who?
Oh no, that's who's in the East.
No, they can't. Plays for Verona. He's right back. I think he might be Cameroon. He can play right back or right wing, but he's fast as anything. Steve P, if he's in the comments, will give me his name in a minute to save me looking. We were linked with him a lot in the summer, and he was interested in coming, but he can do two positions. But he's quick and he's an outball. Is he good enough? Don't know, but I'm sure.
Tatua.
Yeah, Tatua. Right, and I'm sure his fee is like 8.5 million. And so a down payment would be around 2.5 million.
But that's the next thing we're going to be able to do, isn't it? Hey, Everton signed a player today.
They did.
Everton women signed a player, first player at the. I wonder if they've had that lined up. Going, listen, just wait. Honestly, just wait. Stay there. Just get a hotel.
Turn your phone off.
Get a hotel by the airport.
Do you know how they got it sorted? Asked her to go and sit in the car in the close where James McCarthy and Gareth Barry sat.
Why wouldn't you?
Round the corner from Finch Farm.
Why wouldn't
Until
you?
he got it sorted. Ian the Blue says, looks like they've given him support from what I saw of it. I had to turn it off. Looked like he was directing traffic with his arms everywhere. Dyche out.
Fair play.
Okay. Elizabeth says, hello, Elizabeth. Husband and I were in the Bramley Elizabeth?
I know, but it was the way you give it like a little bit extra.
Yeah, because Elizabeth, I haven't spoken to her for a while. Great.
She messaged yesterday saying that she didn't get a season ticket. That's the message that should have been more heartfelt, to say that when she said she didn't.
Just saying hello to her. Liz, I'm really sorry.
I like Liz. She's great.
She's great.
And she's got, you can see the stadium from here out.
Exactly. So they were in the Bramley Moor pub yesterday.
Local.
And it was packed with people who worked on the new stadium. We spoke to a few of them, and apparently all the checks were completed by 2 o'clock yesterday.
They were, yeah.
And the stadium was handed over to the club. They didn't say anything about a ceremony, but I guess that could still happen when the new owners are in town. I guess you may already know this, Ped, given you've been on stadium tour today.
Not that stadium. Not that stadium.
No, you wasn't on.
I wasn't on that stadium.
No.
Now you've got more chance of.
More chance of Everton scoring 5 goals in the first half on Sunday. Mark, because you don't wear shorts. Mark says, what do you think has happened? More Toffee TV being on time or Danny Cadamati being on side?
Michael, what do you mean Toffee TV on time? There are no times. Where does it say? We're not in the Radio Times, are we? Doesn't say we're coming on after bloody Wallace and Gromit, does it?
The problem we've got is it's Sean Dyche. His press conference, and you never know what they're going to do. Like last week, we were set up.
Was he like a box of chocolates?
And he turned up 20 minutes late. Everton changed the time and moved it, and then he was late anyway. So, Mark, I think you're going to get put on the timeout chair in a minute.
I feel like there's disrespect.
James says, my problem with the stadium tour is that it's really only a stand tour. It's a shame you can't walk around. It is the main. It was always just the main stand when I used to do it, to be honest. Don't let you go anywhere else. But it's not, Barry says, spoke to a Millwall fan today about the sacking of their manager. He said the fans were sick of the dull, uninspiring football and lack of goals. The manager claimed that his creative players, 2 centre-halves, were injured, thereby insulting the rest of the team. The manager also showed a lack of respect for fans' opinions. It all sounded too depressingly familiar. And they're 11th, aren't they, in the league as well?
Yeah, but that's like, doesn't really matter in that league.
No, but what I'm saying is it's not like he's being changed, but it's not like the second to bottom or third to bottom, is it? Bainey says, I was surprised how quiet the press conference was at the Emirates too. Ridiculous.
Oh, they're ridiculous. They're ridiculous, honestly. All football clubs are terrible for it. It's a press conference that's going to be shown on national television and YouTube and everything. It's such a disrespect to the people who pay for it.
Bill says maybe he's pissed off because this is the first time he's spoken to him. Signals he's not the future. I don't know. I wouldn't like to guess what was going on in his mind, to be honest. Simon Davies says, afternoon lads, what do you think Dyche's favourite part of Christmas dinner is? I reckon it's Brussels sprouts followed by a box of plain mince pies and washed down with a pint of Foster's.
Oh, you're talking about a fella who actually does.
No, he likes his food.
He loves his food.
Good with the food. No, I think you're being harsh there. I think he'll like it all. Sure, I think he'll have lavish. It's a new style of thing. Lavish gravy all over his Yorkshire pudding with the roasties and the meat. I think he'll do I think he'll actually cook a really good roast dinner as well. Sure, I do.
Do you think he makes sure everyone's quiet for the King's speech?
I imagine
and stands to attention when the national anthem's played.
About that. I
do. I don't know. He's got a pub called the Royal Dyche. Hey, won't he? Yeah. Stoney. Wonder who's making the dinner this year, Woney or Stoney? Do you think they like the set pieces? They do it.
They're back in Nottingham.
And he just sits there in his bills.
He's in Nottingham for it.
In a hotel, would he?
What?
In a hotel in Manchester.
Everton.
We're playing Boxing Day.
I know. They'll be in Nottingham Christmas Eve and back up. Okay. Ian the Blue says he'll have no problem getting a job in McDonald's. That's a bit harsh. Garrett says not press conference related, but seen a lot of calls for a tram or monorail to the new ground.
Absolutely.
Went to a concert at the Co-op next to the Etihad on Wednesday, and the queue for the tram after the gig was an hour, and that was for 20,000 at Paul Heaton. God knows what it'd be like on a game day.
Yeah, but there would be other...
I told you how much I hate them trams.
There would be other things, wouldn't there? There would be buses, taxis, trains as well. It's not just the one thing, it's the whole thing.
And you can walk.
Yeah.
As you know.
And we were talking, and actually it was more to like get to the ground from different parts of like the airport and stuff. But, listen, each to their own. You should have more ways of getting to place, not less. Just because, if there's more ways, then there's less queues for everything. That's just science. And I'm a big believer in science.
Bainey says he'll always be an outsider. There's always been a them and us attitude with Dyche. That doesn't work here. Let's see what he does with new employers who will be bothered now. And Let's Be Having You says them mics or no mics is a pain in the arse. The missus was speaking about Christmas while I was trying to watch it, and I can normally do a good job of pretending to listen, but it caught me out trying to hear the questions. Kept having to pause and rewind it. Sort it out, please, Dan. Let's be honest as well, though.
Should be on his first list, shouldn't it?
It isn't just an Everton thing, though, is it? But there's no reason why we shouldn't be the market leaders in it and make it boss.
Make microphones great again.
Ian the Blue, yes, someone did ask about Delhi. And he's moved on. So he's off to Como.
Como! As Woney or Stoney.
Mark Mack says up the turtleneck toffees, i.e. Potter.
Very interesting.
Matt Gibson says Potter is a student of the game and will have grown from his Chelsea experience, and like how he used his time away to develop his knowledge, in my opinion.
Fair
yeah. Buck says, I think his so-called press conference, I think his meeting with Mark was more than he was saying, especially when he said about the results thing. He's been told by Mark results have to get better or he's out the door. That's how I read his answer. What did you think? He did mention results for the first time, and he mentioned it on 3 separate occasions, I think.
Interesting.
So, it's not, again, I wouldn't expect him to come in and tell everybody everything anyway. It's still a fella doing his job, isn't he? He's doing his job. Sure, I've maintained it all along, whether we want him replaced or not, or whatever, or whether he's the future or he isn't. And like you said, Paddy, he'll go at some stage. Sean Dyche wants his own ego. Like, you've got to have a big ego to be a Premier League football manager. They've all got them.
Of course they have.
His own ego will be to win football games for Everton Football Club. So that's what he's got to do. And right now, he's underperforming. He's won 1 in 5. His win ratio is so far this season, which is terrible. 3 wins in 15. And he'll know that. So for his own ego, he will always go out and try and win the game. Well, he'll always go out not to lose the game only and hopefully grab wins. And that's what he's got to do. And they will have just highlighted that. Because you'd expect it anyway. You'd expect, I would, if I was the manager and a new owner come in, they had a meeting, I'd expect them to go, you've only won 3 games out of 15. Like, why is that? Ask him, and we've got to start winning more games. There's no problem with that. People are terrified. Oh, I don't know. It's, what's happening? We shouldn't put pressure on him. He's had a difficult job. No, he said it himself. A manager's job or a head coach's job is to win games of football. If you don't win enough games, you're gone. No matter who you're at. And no fan should be, like, having a go at people or if managers are questioned because they don't win enough games of football. Because that's what we all want, don't we? We all want our team winning. So these will be no different with him. And he's big enough to understand that, and he said it. So I've got no problem with what he said. Blue Keeley says, a good thing to do would be when you're 4-0 up, maybe give younger players or fringe players a go. Or do what Dyche did and make 2 subs and leave Young to play 90 minutes. They're the easy wins, aren't they? 4-0 up with half an hour to go, putting your, people like Patterson on.
Yeah. Or being 4-0 down and do it.
James Warland says, just subscribe to YouTube and hit the notification button and you'll never ever be late or early for the Daily Live.
Exactly. That's facts.
Dead easy, isn't it? Subscribe and do it.
There's a bit of logistics involved.
And that's from James, that's not us. He says monorail, though, was more of a Shelbyville idea.
It was. It was built big in Shelbyville.
Matt Gibson says Dyche, Stoney and Woney are Toby Carvery on a Tuesday afternoon.
I think they go to the all-you-can-eat brekkie.
What's wrong with that, though?
There's nothing wrong with that. We're just pointing it out.
Is that any different than, like, Colleen saying she goes to B&M and Home and Bargain?
No.
So I don't think people should have a go at him because he might like a Toby Carvery.
Imagine that flat afterwards. It smells.
They mightn't be windy people.
They strike me as windy people.
I think it's harsh. I think you're being a bit harsh. Sean Kelly says Dyche, he's a YouTube member, says Dyche defo drinks Kronenberg. Let's Be Having You says he must have been told to turn up press conferences on time because he was on time today.
Oh, imagine that. Imagine that was the thing. Imagine that's the parting shot as he left the room. It was like
Jackson Tattoo, yeah.
Imagine that was like, don't be late.
Chicken Lips says Evan Ferguson on loan. But A, Brighton have said he ain't going out the door on loan. It's nonsense. And B, we couldn't have another loan unless we cancelled Jack Harrison or Armando Broja. And trust me, they ain't cancelling Armando Broja because they love him. And I couldn't see them cancelling Jack Harrison as well.
Struggling with the rights as we are.
Sean Kelly, who's a YouTube member, says not worldies, but Moyes brought through Rooney. Well, Rooney was a worldie. I mean, he's gone controversial. He put Rooney, then he put Roswell. He has changed it later on. Rodwell, Barkley, and Ichibi Vaughan. Ross Barkley was very, very good as well. Imagine if we got Ross Barkley now in the academy coming through. People would be, his name would be on everyone's, the backs of shirts and everything. Ross Barkley, and you actually think about it, Ross Barkley was tremendous. He still is brilliant now. Whether you like him or you don't, you hate him, whatever. If you can't step back and go, he's a very, very good footballer. He can run, he can beat people, he can shoot with both feet. Okay, sometimes his passing ability, making the decision isn't great. But if Ross Barkley would have come back when Luton got him and he wanted to come here, he'd have been instantly Everton's best midfield player. So if Everton brought another Ross Barkley through, it would be incredible because he was brilliant. He was really good. Harrison Armstrong, high hopes for him. But what do you do then? Come on, you mentioned them before. So what do we do with Harrison Armstrong? Training with them every day. He come on in the 88th minute against Wolves at 4-0 up in a game we were never throwing away. So we brought him on for like five.
Stick him on loan. Stick him, get it.
Would you loan him or would you keep him?
No, find him a good club and stick him on loan. I think that's probably the most sensible thing to do for the remainder of the season, because he ain't going to get much.
He's only 17, isn't he?
He ain't going to get many chances, and he ain't going to develop too much. So, yeah, I'd stick him on loan.
What would you do with Patterson in January? Would you loan him out as well?
If there's no chance of him playing games, then loan him out.
Yeah.
If there isn't any opportunities, then loan him out.
Roman Dixon.
Yeah,
James.
He's another one.
Because Roman Dixon's at. I mean, James, young player. Roman Dixon's at the stage, isn't he, where he's just playing for the 21s. He ain't developing playing for the 21s. He's just not. It's sanitised football. The only way he might go to he's got the pace. The only way he might go to the next level is a loan, isn't it? Into maybe the Championship, or I don't know.
I think it's an interesting decision on whether he stays in England or if he goes abroad, because when
Bell that Brands lad.
Yeah, because the effect it had on Branthwaite with him going abroad and then coming back was huge, and he was like a different player. So you'd hope that maybe you look at an international one and sort of see if you can get that sort of similar effect on him, but it's just dependent, isn't it? He's not going to grow any more now in the 21s than what he already is, and it's weird that you keep him around just to really be on the bench, or it might get like a few minutes. I mean, he got to start against Tottenham, but then never got a chance after that. So
played Southampton in the cup, didn't he? That was it.
So it's weird. So you definitely go out, but I'd look abroad because we've got more evidence that works for young players recently.
Liam says, my nephew, who is a mad blue like me, is in Liverpool's academy. He's been at Everton as well. He wears his Everton bills for training with Liverpool. He's only 14, but he tells me our academy is miles off. Something has gone wrong in the last few years. Well, even like, this has been for years, hasn't it? When I spoke to Jamie Carragher, and he was like, I'm obviously a massive Evertonian as a kid. And he was at Everton, he went to Liverpool, and he went to Everton. And he said, I went back to Liverpool because Liverpool was just better. It was just better, and that was then. So I know that we've had peaks and troughs. We've had a time in our academy was better, but now it feels like it's fell off. And hopefully Kevin Thelwell's trying to grab it back up, but it needs to. We shouldn't be losing boyhood Evertonians to Liverpool. We shouldn't, because if they're good enough to be in Liverpool's academy, I would suggest they're good enough to be in our academy, and being a blue should pull them to our academy. And I know it doesn't always work like that, and sometimes you shouldn't make a decision like that. I made a decision like that. Was the worst thing I probably ever did. You shouldn't make it with your heart. But Everton should be going after them kids, going, we want you in our face. You're an Evertonian. We want you pulling on that blue shirt at Bramley Moore and running out in front of Evertonians. And that should be the heartstrings you play on. But if those kids are intelligent enough, or the parents to go, actually, you've got more of a chance of becoming a footballer training with them than you have here, then they're going to go there. And for me, that's the fight Everton have got to win. And that's not necessarily down. Well, it isn't down to Sean Dyche, is it? That's to everybody else. But
look how many of the like top Liverpool players from like Liverpool are Everton fans as well.
Yeah, and that's been that way for years as well, isn't it? But I don't know. It's all they're the kind of things as well that we've got to do moving forward. What are you feeling like today then, Peg? Because obviously yesterday was... Well, I just mean in terms of like the freakings, because obviously yesterday it happened. We were waiting for it. We knew it was happening yesterday morning. It was announced, it was good. We've got the executive chair in and all of that stuff. So what have you, the first sort of 24 hours, what have you made of it? And what are you hoping now that we see? Because it won't be fast changes, will it? Things will take time.
Plus you've got like Christmas and stuff as well. It's like there's not going to be too much period of of change. I think it's just about like getting through the next 2 weeks. Probably won't see anything change at the football club, clearly. And then obviously getting into January, we might start seeing something change. Possibility of bringing players in. I know the banging the drum and making sure everybody knows that there's PSR issues to overcome. But listen, there might be outs and there might be ins, and if it strengthens the team, then who knows? Who knows? I mean, Kevin Thelwell he might be looking at going, well, you know what? I can't get rid of Jack Harrison now because I'm actually going to bring in this other lad on loan or whatever. Who knows? There could be, I think, well, nothing's going to change for the next couple of weeks other than, ceremonial people at the game on Sunday, and obviously the stadium, I imagine, is going to be, stuff's going to come out about that in the next few days being handed over, because obviously I imagine this will be the last official day working. I imagine it won't be, but for a lot of people it probably will be. Down there, there'll be people still doing the odd jobs but for the most part there'll be a little ceremony and all that. It's not, and Everton will have a day where they'll go this, and all that kind of thing. No, I'm not really expecting much. I just think the mood might be a little bit better. Sunday will be a very difficult game, and obviously City will be a very, very difficult game. But going into the Forest game, you hope that everybody is up for that one and ready for that one, and that'll be of course, that's going to be very difficult as well. But you just hope that the mood will change a little bit over the next few games.
Yeah. Lee says Sean Dyche has clearly always wanted all of us to believe we're actually incapable of being anything better than relegation battlers, and I personally despise him for that. David says 9 wins in 36 is awful. Love the NEC yellow shirt. Gave mine to grandson who still wears it. Brilliant. Top Shadow says Dyche is keeping these League 2 players in the Premier League. Give him respect.
Shut up, idiot.
That's nonsense. That is utter nonsense. They're elite footballers. Whether you like them or not. Can we get better? Of course we can. We can get miles better, but I disagree with that one. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. Fair play, but I can't subscribe to that. Really can't. Steve P says Barkley would be our best player now, and that's a fact. And if you saying Dan said Barkley wouldn't have got a game under Dyche, too attack minded. Mr. Blue Sky says Barkley and Lukaku, what a partnership that was. Yeah, it was very, very good. Royal Blue Zach says those driving runs would have been taken out of him by Dyche.
Hold.
Yeah. Simon says Douglas Lujanics needs to be in and around the first team. We are more than likely going to lose him to Man City.
The goalie? Well, it's another goalie they're sniffing around, apparently.
It's another goalie who they think is going to be in Everton's first team very soon. Yeah. David Murphy says my lad was in Everton's academy in 26 and left in 2016. It was going down the nick then.
Things really changed, didn't they, when they got done for bringing kids in?
Yeah,
that's when they got the ban.
It made it difficult, didn't it? It did make it difficult. And that's it. I'm not saying it's dead easy. Of course it isn't easy, but Everton need to, what I'm saying is to maybe move forward in this. Kevin Thelwell might be doing this already as well. I wouldn't know. But we should be trying to go, we're going to go back to that, because no David Moyes did this, because it was how do you do it? How do you sort of turn that? How do you get people? I remember having Ray Hall in, and Ray Hall said Howard Kendall done it all those years ago. It was we've got to start taking people back from going to Liverpool or City or whatever. But I know Moyes, because this is ironically how Duncan come back and became a coach, because he'd been brought in by Moyes, who wanted them to start going and trying to get these kids, because he didn't think Duncan wanted to be a coach. He just thought he might be a good ambassador, to convince kids. I think we have to try to market ourselves maybe for these kids to go and actually come back to us. We're the best pathway into the Premier League. We'll make you footballers, because you're not going to get a chance at Liverpool or City or United unless you're the very elite. I don't know. Maybe that's an opportunity that we could do. Steve P says Baz Bachweth from Strasbourg's won. Why not? Chicken lips? No, never been involved there. No people who have. We both know a couple of coaches who've moved on and weren't impressed with what's gone on. That's all. Although one of those isn't even in footy at the moment, which is mad. He's been there. Steve P says very similar to Minter. Very fast, good dribbler. But we would have had him, wouldn't we? If it would have played out differently, we would have had Yankuba Minter, wouldn't we? On the right, who is very quick. I know he's not been amazing for Brighton, but he certainly has something we haven't got, which is that genuine pace, as they call it. Yeah. We don't have it, do we? Which is something we need, really, and we'll see in January, I suppose. There is still money there. It's not going to be tons, but there is still money there where you can sort of make a bit of a difference. Last couple on Prem before we finish. Terry McKenna says, overall, I think Moyes is the safest pair of hands. he'd play players in their proper position and develop our style. I don't think David Moyes is on the agenda right now.
No.
But, I wouldn't argue against it. Ian the Blue says, if we get mullered on Sunday, do you think he'll get bin-bagged after that? I don't think they'll do anything until after the Forest game, if I'm being honest. And he might not do anything then. He might just see how it goes. Results will dictate it, won't it? Because if Everton don't win the next 3 games, they'll have won 3 in 18 in almost half a season. You can't survive that.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. And the chances are, if that plays out like that, we'll be in the bottom 3 anyway.
Yeah.
So we're going to need a win off these next 3 games. We could win on Sunday. As me and James were saying before, Everton have won 5 of the last 6 at Goodison against Chelsea. So we could beat them on Sunday. They're flying. And they scored tons of goals. But it's not like the maddest results ever for us to beat Chelsea on Sunday. So we'll just have to see. And Mark Mack says selling Samuel Smith to Chelsea, I think he'll be the one we kick ourselves over. We could do with a left back like that. 4 million. We're probably going to spend treble on getting one of them in January. Has he done anything? Was he on the bench or anything last night? Because they basically play like they're under 11s last night.
Yeah.
So was he in the squad last night, James? No. So he's been gone sort of 18 months, hasn't he? Is it, or is it a year? No, it is about 18 months now, isn't it?
Wasn't it the summer before that, or was it that? No, it was that summer, wasn't it?
So what's he like? Sort of, has he even featured? I don't even think he's featured anywhere so far. So
No.
I guess it's very similar.
He hasn't featured.
No, so it's very. I guess it's very like Terry Small, isn't it? Is that you look?
He's still only 18, though.
No, we're
He's
not.
looking really young.
Yeah, good player, or potentially a good player. We'll see, but maybe he will, maybe he'll be brilliant. But Everton, the other thing is, I don't think Everton wanted to sell him.
No.
He wanted to go, and therefore we were able to make some money. So I don't think you can blame the manager or anything for that one. He just wanted to go, and when they want to go, you have to try to get as much out of the deal yourself, don't you? But we'll see. Right, make sure you like, subscribe, like we said before, or someone said, wasn't us. Hit the bell notification button, subscribe, and then you get notified, and then you defo won't miss a show. Chicken Lips says prediction for tomorrow: who score Fury? Us score Fury.
I couldn't care less.
No. James,
couldn't care less.
Tyson Fury, and I think they'll do a third.
Yeah, actually big money. Yeah. James Graham says Ray Always our PE teacher at school got us to the national final. There you go. Brilliant. Great fella, Rayo. Good lad. Right, like, subscribe, do. Well, have a fantastic weekend, everybody. Check out the video. Ped was on Sky Sports News. Check that out if you haven't seen that. Check out the little video we did about the freak and how they bought Evan. Have a little look at that if you haven't as well. And we'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.
Up the Toffees.
Still on, James?
Still on. It'll go in a minute, I'm sure.
Still on, James?
Bye.
Still on, James?
Froze. It hasn't.
Still on, James?
James just doesn't want to turn it off.
That's an old one, though.